a chilly Chicago, Illinois, the third largest city in the United States of America. This is The Drive with Mario Smith. I am Mario Smith. Welcome to Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and your Amazon-supported devices. No, you're not mistaken. I do have on a Montreal Expos jersey. There we go. Eh? Glad you're here today. There's a lot to talk about, and we will get to all of it shortly. Joining me from a location I don't know where he's from, or at. I don't even know where he's from, but I don't know where he's at. It's Robert Malazzo. He will be handling the production duties today, as Gliss is he's no longer on a boat. He's on his way back from his trip. How you doing, Rob?
I'm good, man. I'm from the other mean streets, New York.
Okay.
Gliss is coming. Gliss is back Monday. We miss Gliss.
Gliss will be here on Monday on President's Day, what I affectionately term now as Obama Day.
I love that.
Or JFK Day, what other president, or Jimmy Carter Day. Presidents I like.
How do you feel about? I'll let you go, but how do you feel about Fridays? I always like to see how people think of the weekends. And also, is Friday a weekend day, or is that still the week? Okay.
Because we won't adopt a 4-day working system here in the United States, I hereby deem Thursday Friday Junior. Today is Friday Senior, actual Friday. I love it. What has been happening? This is our 24th episode, by the way. Thank you, everybody. What's been happening here on The Drive on Fridays, the show is terrible. So we just run to the tape, go through the tape, and Gliss will call me and he'll go, well, and I'll go, yeah. He's like, all right, see you Monday. And then that's how our weekends end up. No, seriously, we love Fridays around here. Fridays are cool.
Well, you and I know there used to be these things called Friday news dumps.
Yes.
Let's just put this news Friday so no one talks about it. No mas. That doesn't happen anymore. There is news every day of the week. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to sit back and listen, and I'm excited, and congrats on, I love when you keep the numbers of shows. It's like a baby, 8 months old, 9 months old. One day we're going to stop counting, but
eventually. I just think it's important for me anyway, because without going too far behind the curtain, I'm so glad we got to 24 episodes. This is so important to me that we keep celebrating. And I mean, everything is on a timestamp, so we should celebrate everything every day. I hope everybody out there is having a great afternoon. In Chicago, weather-wise, woo, buddy. We didn't get Snowmageddon Apocalypticon 2 Electric Boogaloo like I thought we would, but we got hit. It was a bit of a thing. And right now, the wind is blowing snow. So there's another winter storm warning for the Chicago area that includes blowing snow. No more falling snow, just blowing snow. We thank you guys for being with us as always. And don't forget that you can join us. It'll be starting on Monday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern time with Haley and Allison, 8 a.m. with Liv Harrison, 10 a.m. with our pals Jam and Renee, 12 p.m. Eastern with Sir Anthony Davis, and then your pal, my pal, our pal Hal, 2 p.m. Eastern time, bringing you right into the drive. And let's take a look at what's going on at the top of the hour. And this is, I'm going to talk about this in depth later. I will read the headline for it now, and then we're going to get into it, because I would like to really, without bringing anybody down, and I know it's Friday and all, it's important to be able to mark moments in American history as Americans and mark them in their proper context without bias. Kim Potter, the police officer in Minnesota who shot and killed Daunte Wright, was sentenced to 2 years in prison today. It is the equivalent of 24 months. She may only serve 16 months. She was also given a $1,000 fine. That's wrong. I digress. Kim Potter, the former suburban Minneapolis police officer who said she confused her handgun for her taser when she fatally shot Daunte Wright, was sentenced today to 2 years in prison. Wright's family denounced the verdict as too lenient and accused the judge of giving more consideration to the white officer than the black victim. Potter was convicted in December of first and second degree manslaughter in the April 11 killing of Wright, a 20-year-old black motorist. She was sentenced only on the more serious charge in accordance with state law. Wright's mother, Katie Wright, said after the sentencing that Potter murdered my son, adding, "Today the justice system murdered him all over again." She also accused the judge of being taken in by white woman's tears after Potter cried during her pre-sentencing statement. News from Major League Baseball: MLB cancels all spring training games. Well, not all of them, but they canceled games through March 4th due to the lockout. Major League Baseball today canceled the first week of spring training games through March 4 in the first public acknowledgement of the disruption caused by the lockout. The announcement came with the work stoppage in its 79th day and a day after economic talks between the management and the Major League Baseball Players Association lasted just 15 minutes. And finally, President Donald Trump's records that were taken in by the National Archives contained classified information. The records that he brought home with him from Mar-a-Lago. The agency told Congress it has, quote, identified items marked as classified national security information, close quote, in boxes that were sent to Mar-a-Lago. The National Archives and Records Administration confirmed today that it found classified material among the boxes of White House documents that former President Donald Trump improperly took to Mar-a-Lago. Quote, NARA has identified items marked as classified national security information within the boxes that have been returned to the agency from Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. Archivist David S. Ferriero acknowledged in a letter to the House Oversight Committee. And those are your headlines at the top of the hour. When we come back, we will get deeper into the Kim Potter story, and we'll do other news that's happening around the world. Hope you're having a great afternoon wherever you are. We appreciate your patronage. And, I have not even said hi to the passengers yet. Hold on, wait a minute. That's important. Kobe, hey, man, how you doing? Tay-Tay, that's right, 24 episodes, my friend. Kobe's asking, how many McDonald's for dinner? I don't eat McDonald's. But if I was going to eat McDonald's, it would be filet of fish. Who else is here? Matthew is here. Tay-Tay here in Illinois. Thank you, brother. Chandler is here. Cole, J-Lo in New York. Nathan, and sometimes C in Texas. Bella in Northern Virginia, Sunny in Indiana, Verona in New Hampshire, Deborah in California. Gliss may not be in Florida anymore. I think he's on his way back to Portland. I think. And Amanda, in Vermont. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be back with more stories, and we'll talk a little bit more in depth about the Kim Potter sentencing that happened this afternoon. This is The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and your Amazon-supported devices. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Drive here on Backchannel.tv. I'm Mario Smith. Thank you for being here today. We really appreciate it. I know I say that all the time, but I mean it. I absolutely am overwhelmed that people are here. So thank you so much. So this afternoon, Kim Potter, the police officer who murdered Daunte Wright because she mistook her gun for a taser, was sentenced to 24 months in prison. And here's why it's important that we talk about this today. And I understand, people may not want to chat, but we're going to. Not for the whole day, I promise. I won't hold you hostage. But I would like for you to at least hear where I'm coming from. And then you can chime in the chat. Please feel free to do that. The chat is open. Just tell your Amazon-supported devices. You can begin your sentence with say, and then tell them what you want to do, which is chat. Or you can go to backchannel.tv and join the chat. You can leave a review of the show. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can absolutely chime in from YouTube. When the trainer of the police is the person who kills a person, that's the reddest of red flags. The inability for her to be able to distinguish from her taser from her gun does not meet the smell test, if you will. Dante Wright should be alive today. At the very least, officer or former officer, or maybe she'll be an officer again, Potter, shouldn't have discharged neither taser or service weapon. But she's the damn trainer. She's the trainer. She doesn't know the difference between a taser and a gun. She's training officers to be able, in a split second, to be able to differentiate between a taser and a gun, your service weapon that you are issued. Everybody I want to go back to Colin Kaepernick for a second, and I know that's probably not a popular thing to do, but I'm doing it. The reason that Colin Kaepernick took a knee and never said a word when he did it was because he was trying to get people to see that the police were killing Black men, women, and children. And not just Black men, women, and children either. Not at all. And he can't get a job in the NFL anymore because he took a knee. That is why he took the knee. For things like this. Her sentencing today of 24 months is egregious. By all estimates, it's egregious. I cannot figure out why this sentence wasn't longer. We say the same thing here in Chicago about Jason Van Dyke. Jason Van Dyke killed Laquan McDonald, put 16 shots into this boy who had a knife. I'm not a cop. I don't know how easy it is to disarm someone, but I imagine if there are over 30 policemen on the scene, one of those 30 knows how to disarm that young man with that knife who was having a mental health moment. Dante Wright was murdered because Officer Kim Potter made a mistake. And we wonder why in this country there's a divide and why people have a hard time wrapping their minds around equality and justice, not just for Black folks. I'm not on that. But as a Black man, I would be doing a disservice to myself if I didn't say that this, again, sticks a pin somewhere that absolutely still hurts. I don't know what's going to happen to me when I walk out of my house and walk down the street in Chicago. I got to worry about people with ill intentions and the police. I'm not afraid of either, but I do have to have it in my head as a Black man. The cops might not care if I have a concealed license to carry a weapon. They might not care if I go into my glove box to show them my gun is in a box. It's locked up, officer. I'm going to reach for my insurance papers in my glove box, officer. Officer, let me get my ID. I'm putting my hand in my pocket to get my ID. Can I unbutton my coat to show you that I don't have a weapon? All that. That's real life. That's every day, at least, not every day, but whenever a situation develops on the street, that my stance is, hey, look, officer, I'm going to unbutton my coat to show you what I don't have. And then I'm going to reach for my ID to show you I'm who I say I am. Because I don't want to get shot by the police. Yet this officer that was a trainer shot and killed this man because she could not differentiate a taser, which is shaped differently on purpose, than her service revolver. It's egregious. It's wrong. 24 months isn't hardly enough. There isn't enough money to take that family's pain away. It is a sign of the times, man, and it stinks. And I will say this, and I know this will probably get me in trouble too, but I'll take the trouble for it. If it ran you off when I started talking about it, I kind of need you to keep running. Because this is America for real. It's where you live, whether you like it or not. I have to do it every day, and I can't run. And there's that. A winter storm moving through the United States is now headed to the East Coast, bringing heavy snow and flooding. More than 50 million Americans are going, please stop snowing. A massive snowstorm, and actually it was like 60-something degrees the other day on the East Coast from what I heard. A massive storm system brought heavy snow and a wintry mix on the northern side of the system, flooding, rainfall in the middle, and severe thunderstorms on the southern side. Heavy snow with snowfall rates of 2 inches per hour at times was affecting parts of the Central Plains and Midwest yesterday. In fact, Thunder Snow, that's my favorite song by AC/DC, Thunder Snow, was reported in the Kansas City area. Officials here in Illinois described whiteout conditions across a wide swath of the central part of the state and in the Chicago area. On Interstate 39 east of Peoria, Illinois State Police said there was a 28-vehicle crash and numerous other cars slid off the road. No injuries were reported. A lengthy stretch of the highway was likely to remain closed through this afternoon, the department said. South of Chicago, an ice jam in the Kankakee River broke apart, triggering flash flooding to the Wilmington area. Authorities told residents to immediately move to higher ground. Officials in New York warned that a large section of the state could also see flooding from ice jams. Governor Kathy Hochul, I think that's how you pronounce her name, said a state task force dedicated to the issue was monitoring the situation, and she urged residents in flood-prone areas to protect themselves and their families. In Missouri, authorities described blizzard-like conditions and pleaded with drivers to stay off the roads. The National Weather Service said the 7 inches of snow that fell in Kansas City topped the previous daily record of half a foot set in 1893. Also, here in Illinois, a foot of snow fell in Manito, in the central part of the state. The Weather Prediction Center said Thursday in Kansas and Missouri, snowfall totals reached 10 inches. At the same time, 1 to 3 inches of rain falling over already significant snow totals was expected to result in flood concerns from the Midwest to New England. More than 100 river gauges are forecast to rise from minor to major flood stage in the coming days. Rivers to watch include those in Northeast Ohio and the Buffalo, New York area. If you are in any of those areas on the East Coast, this is for you. Be careful. This storm is wicked. It is blowing. I am looking outside now and snow's flying around a little bit. Sun's still out, so it's tamped down some, but it's this is a storm for you know what. It has been one thing. My goodness gracious. Oh, thank you, Kobe. I appreciate you. Love you too. Mickey's in Louisiana. Hey, Mickey. It's your first time? Well, be careful. We can't use the V word, but if this was a poetry slam or something, they would yell at you. So welcome to the show. Really appreciate it. On behalf of my man Gliss, who's not here, and on behalf of Robert, who is, we appreciate you being a part of the drive. Here's a disturbing story, and this is the first thing I saw when I woke up this morning. Ukrainian rebels evacuate civilians to Russia amid crisis while the Russians are planning a nuclear test. It doesn't get any better than this, does it? It's got to, right? Doesn't it? At some point? Spiking tensions in eastern Ukraine on Friday aggravated Western fears of a Russian invasion and a new war in Europe, with a humanitarian convoy hit by shelling and pro-Russian rebels evacuating civilians from the conflict zone. A car bombing hit the eastern city of Donetsk, but no casualties were reported. The Kremlin declared massive nuclear drills to flex its military muscle, and President Vladimir Putin, I love saying his name, but he's a bit squirrely, pledged to protect Russia's national interest against what it sees as encroaching Western threats. U.S. and European leaders, meanwhile, grasped for ways to keep the peace and Europe's post-Cold War security order. While Putin held out the possibility of diplomacy, a cascade of developments this week have further exacerbated East-West tensions and fueled war worries. This week's actions have fed those concerns. U.S. and European officials focused on an estimated 150,000 Russian troops posted around Ukraine's borders warned the long-simmering separatist conflict in eastern Ukraine could provide the spark for a border attack. Wow. Vice President Kamala Harris said the U.S. still hopes Russia will de-escalate, but is ready to hit it with tough sanctions in case of an attack. U.S. leaders this week issued their most dire warnings yet that Moscow could order an invasion of Ukraine any day. And this is the Vice President Harris. We remain, of course, open to and desirous of diplomacy, but we are also committed, if Russia takes aggressive action, to ensure there will be severe consequence, Harris said at the annual Munich Security Conference. While Russia snubbed this year's conference, lines of communication remain open. The U.S. and Russian defense chiefs spoke today, and U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin called for de-escalation, the return of Russian forces surrounding Ukraine to their home bases, and a diplomatic resolution, according to the Pentagon. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov agreed to meet next week. Yet war is imminent. There's a Bob Marley song called War. Part of it is a speech. Most of it's a speech from Haile Selassie when he was the emperor of Ethiopia, and he speaks of war and rumors of war. Everywhere is war. I do not mean to bum you guys out. Am I bumming you guys out? I'm checking the chat. I'm not bumming you out. Okay, good. Yes, Tay, nuclear drills. And when I saw it this morning, my first thought was, okay, in the midst of all of this, and the Olympic Treaty, which people don't know about, is in play, where all nations agree to have a ceasefire while the Olympics are taking place and until their athletes get back to their country so that there's no conflict. With all that happening, under the backdrop of the Olympics and all this political detente and maybe or maybe not diplomacy and all that's going on, they decided, the Russians, this would be a great time for us to do nuclear drills. When you hear that, does that put a little charge in you? Because it did in me, man. Like, nuclear drills. Why? What's next? Okay, here's our poll question for today. Will Donald Trump take the fifth when will Donald, Ivanka, and one of those other two weirdo brothers take the fifth when they are made to speak in front of a judge? Will Donald Trump take the fifth? That is the question on the table. You can go to backchannel.tv and put your answer in the chat. You can also do that on YouTube if you're watching, and you can ask your Amazon supported devices to put you in this chat so you can answer that question. Is Trump going to take the fifth? Donald Trump may face the question of will he take the fifth or not after a New York judge ordered the former president to testify in a long-running state civil investigation into his business practices. Trump's lawyers are almost certain to appeal Judge Arthur Engoron's ruling Thursday that Trump and his two eldest children, Ivanka and Donald Trump Jr., have 21 days to comply with the subpoena seeking their testimony in a probe by New York Attorney General Letitia James. So that was yesterday, so there are 20 days left. And they're not business days, that's every day. So they got 20 days. Noted. Barring a successful legal challenge, Trump would face a decision between answering questions under oath or remaining silent and invoking his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, a tactic he has equated with evidence of guilt. Quote, the mob takes the fifth, close quote, Trump told a campaign crowd in Iowa when running for president. If you are innocent, do not remain silent, Trump tweeted in 2014, offering free advice as Bill Cosby faced a flurry of sexual assault accusations. You look guilty as hell. Aside from any legal considerations, refusing to answer James's questions carries political risks. For a former president and potential candidate for the office to take the fifth would really be remarkable, close quote, said Stephen Gillers, a law professor at New York University. The problem with appearing, at least as his lawyers will see it, is that Trump can't be controlled. And he's likely to say things that will cause more trouble for him and his family. I don't think Trump's going to take the fifth. I think he's going to talk because he can't shut his mouth. And it's going to be majestic. And we will be here every step of the way to tell you that he will take it. Tete says he'll take the fifth 500 times. I don't think he's going to take it once. I think he wants to talk. I think he desires to talk. Hey, Rob. Hey, Robert, can you do me a small favor?
Yeah.
Can you give me a 30-second break?
Sure.
I need to make a really quick move to kill the sound that is happening in my house.
Can I just step in for a second? And
sure.
When you're back?
That's fair. No break needed.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody gets to see me get up. I have legs.
Wow.
I got legs. I got legs.
Well, now that Mario Smith's reign is over, let's have a show. No. What's amazing to me, we talk about this idea of slow news days. No such thing. No such beast. Dorian joined the stream. Riley. I love when people join the stream. I just love saying people's names.
I have returned. Yes. I do love people seeing names. No, that's not what I was trying to say. I love seeing people's names. Riley is here. What's up, Riley?
Sorry, man. Sorry to interrupt, but it's just kind of the fun of this. Just hearing you say, so Tete from your hometown, or Gliss, or Amanda from Vermont, or Sunny from Indiana.
Yeah.
I just think that's cool. Not to kind of put a hat on a hat here, although you don't have a hat on today.
Not yet.
I just think, it shows you that you are speaking about news that now more than ever affects everybody and reaches everybody. I just think, everything look, you and I, as we get on, you realize the good news and the bad news are the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we can reach everybody is good and bad, but I think like some of these stories, your lead today, and we talked a little off air about the statement his mom made was just like beautiful. Like, I just feel like these need to be heard by and repeated and called out, and like people's names need to be put on it. And I love the way you personalize these stories. And I'm not just saying that because we're all in the same Backchannel family. I just think we talked about this yesterday. I just think everything is just, it's a stream of information, and you're calling it out and you're speaking it at the same time. And I think it's important that you do that. And I think it's important it's reaching people at different geographies. And
it's hard for me, and I have the same stance on the terrestrial radio show. It's very hard watching all this stuff go down and not say this is wrong, because I think, I'm taking advantage of the platform for sure. I think the voices of people who are in these moments don't get heard. And I wanted to always, my goal from the very beginning of my career years ago was, if I ever got in a position where I could say what I wanted to say, I would make sure that it was with a bunch of integrity and that it would speak to the moment from my perspective. It is real. When I walk out of my house, I have to have in my head what might happen today if a policeman mistakes me for someone else. Luckily for me, that won't happen. People kind of know who I am, but it doesn't stop it from happening.
Yeah.
And it's real. So imagine, and I live in a pretty decent neighborhood, but in neighborhoods that aren't as decent, imagine what that young black man or woman or child, when they see a police officer, after seeing what happened in Minnesota, it's like, well, whoa, where am I at on this podium?
Yeah.
What spot am I taking? It's real.
I'll let you go, but can I put you in a hard spot for a second?
Yeah, sure.
I'm just curious. when people talk about news or media and broadcasting, who should we all be speaking to, in the sense of, should we be speaking to people who get it, or should we speak to people who don't get it? And how is that even possible? Like, sometimes I feel, and I think every side of aisles and issues is guilty of it, preaching to the choir. But I always feel like with issues, we need someone who is in that space already who has to stand up. Like, we need a mayor of a city. We need someone who's not like in the womb. I'll give you a bad example, and I'm not equating systemic racism with Me Too, but just hear me out for a second. You know, when Me Too started, a lot of women who were victims of Me Too were talking, and it really took people outside the situation to acknowledge it, to say, you know what, they're right. Because, you know, sometimes when people in the situation, some people tune them out wrongly because they're in the situation. What are the voices you want to hear from communally to put words to these stories, like police commissioners, mayors, presidents? I mean, there's this thing, like, sometimes when the other side speaks, you just tune it out. So how do we crack the sound barrier here with change? How do we do that? I know that's not a small question. I'm going to let you go and chew on that a little bit.
I will definitely speak to that. I think that, one, we are not a very politically astute or savvy voter. I think we vote a lot of times with entertainment purposes at mind. For example, when Mayor Lightfoot here in Chicago ran for mayor, the big draw was she was a lesbian, she was a Black woman, she was a woman, and she'd be the second woman mayor in the city. The novelty of it. No political experience outside of running the police investigative board, and her tenure has proven to be tenuous, right? I think when we say, well, I need to have an opportunity to say what I want to say and talk to somebody, yes, who is the somebody you're trying to talk to? In many instances, that noise I make, just like this, goes right down. Because the people it should be reaching, it won't. Because they're not trying to hear it. Because they have their interests, right? Prisons make money. Arresting people makes money. It's a for-profit organization. Everybody knows it, and that's fine. The problem is, if you're not doing your job correctly, or if you're not doing your job at all, in the name of doing your job, i.e. the trainer of the police who couldn't differentiate between a taser and a service weapon, the whole thing is messed up. So when in my mind, I'm trying to talk to people who are thinking like me, but I want to reach a few of those folks who don't agree with what I'm saying, just so they can have the conversation. They don't have to agree with me. Look, I'm old. I don't care if people agree with me anymore or not, but I would really enjoy for the dialogue to be the thing, and that everybody can come to a table and over a beer, over a fizzy drink, or whatever you do, to be able to have the conversation about things that aren't right and people's points of view when those things are happening to them or to their communities. We just tend to talk, and then it's on to the next. I'm guilty of it. I have to be, because I'm doing this and formatted this way. But our conversations get muddled, because if everybody is saying I'm being treated wrong, and the people who are doing the wrongdoing are like, no, you're not, and they're the majority voice, it doesn't really matter what I say.
I would just want to say one thing, and I don't work for this group, and I'm not broadcasting, and I'm just always fascinated by, let's call them culturally, maybe politically bipartisan organizations, like in the sense of, let's say that's an optimal type of system, like people from both sides. I was reading, there's this group called Braver Angels. I don't know if you know Braver Angels.
I've heard of them.
Like it brings people who are red states, like people from Democrat, literally it's the fabric of it are people with differentiating views. You know, I think part of it always synthesizes back into what you're saying, like, where are we as a species? How do we listen to each other? How do we communicate to each other? What speed do we move? You know, all these things, you know, it's overwhelming. And I'm not trying to, you know, I just find that when I watch you and listen to you, you make it so like conversational. And I think that's really beautiful, because you don't like, you're not like with your fists up, and you're just like talking it through. I think we got to do more of that. I really do. But real change has got to happen. And as you say, politicians are like celebrities now, and that's a problem. It's a real problem.
And it's been one for a while. And the inability of the voter to be astute and aware and all written down and researched is lost. We vote from our heart and from where we feel like we're going to be entertained. We vote for people who we know are going to do us dirty. And we do it with great aplomb. We're proud of our vote. I know I love going to vote, but I think I'm a different kind of voter because I've been indoctrinated by people who knew, you can't let this dummy Mario go out here and just vote willy-nilly for anybody. There has to be a set of why you want to vote for this person, where your best interest is. What does it mean to you when you say, I want to make sure something is happening in my community, and I think that this person would be able to do it? I'm telling you, this police issue is a problem, and it's been a problem. But if we don't start treating it like the disease it is, we're all going to end up suffering for it. It won't just be Black folks either. And I believe that from the bottom of my heart. And I've been proven right. There was a big thing that The Guardian did a few years ago where they detailed police brutality in America. And it wasn't just happening to Black people and Latinos. It just wasn't. There is something fundamentally wrong, and we need to get together. I like to say over beer because, beer. But we need to get together and have the conversation and not be afraid to have the conversation and stop acting like talking to each other is going to cause some problem, because it's not. But this is about us having these conversations, man. That's how you get things done. Eden and Jesse and Beverly, Jamie and Dorian and Riley. What's up, y'all, everybody? Please let us know where you're from, too. Don't be afraid to get into the chat, man. I can't do all this talking by myself. You know what happens to me at 6 o'clock Eastern? I'm tired. I love to talk to you guys, though. That doesn't make me tired. The question on the table, is Trump going to take the fifth? And again, I got to read what Tay said. He's going to take it 500 plus times. I don't think he's going to, because his whole thing has been, if you take the fifth, you're a punk. He's been saying that forever. My Trump impression isn't good anymore because I refuse to try to really work on it. I think the fear. Hey, Mark, welcome to the show in Georgia. How are you? I think that's your first time. Welcome. I think the fear of all of Trump's people is that he's going to just not stop talking. And God, I want that to happen in the worst way. Don't stop talking. Keep on talking, Trump. Go on, say some more. There's other things that we may not be able to get to today, including the United States has reached 73% immunity. Is that enough to make things go back to normal? While in Asia, South Korea, and I do believe Japan, COVID is increasing again. There's a new variant. Things to think about. Yeah. You may have to hold on to that mask a little bit longer than you anticipated. Please be careful. By the way, and I will read this one because I want to make sure. I don't know how many of you have new babies, but very quickly, the FDA has sent out they're cautioning parents and caregivers to watch the baby formula that you use. The Food and Drug Administration yesterday said that it's investigating certain powdered infant formula following 4 customer reports of children contracting serious infections. The FDA said infections stemming from the bacterium Chronobacher Sakazakalakiaki and the strain Salmonella Newport have been linked to powdered infant formula produced in Abbott Nutrition's Sturgis, Michigan facility. The FDA's investigation includes 4 infant illnesses in 3 states, Minnesota, Ohio, and Texas, that possibly connect to the products and infections. FDA said buyers should avoid Similac, Alimentum, and Elicare formulas if they meet all of the following criteria. The first 2 digits of the code are 22 through 37. The code on the container includes K8SH or Z2. The expiration date is 4/1/2022. And in parentheses, it says APR 2020. My broadcasting days, 2022 or later. Parents can also type in the code on the bottom of the package at similacrecall.com to see whether their product is affected. That number is 800-986-8540, 800-986-8540. We'll have our community report when we come back. Thank you for watching, everybody that's on the drive today, our passengers. It's Friday, Kaylee. It's your first time on the show. You're in California. You know what it is. It's Friday. We'll be back in just a moment. My partner Michael Lockett has joined the stream. What's happening, brother? He's watching on YouTube. Hey, everybody, it's The Drive. You know that. I act like we've been on for 50 years. You don't know that. I'm telling you, it's The Drive. Everybody calm down. I am really having a good time here seeing all the folks that are joining the show. This is nice. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. We all do. We really do. We appreciate all you guys. And you know what? I'm going to say a special hello to everybody at Backchannel.tv. I have not met any of these people yet, but hello to everybody. It's cold in Chicago. Want to come to the Shy? Hang out? Do you? No, you don't. It's cold. Let me see. Matter of fact, I'll give you an on-the-spot weather real quick. It is in my neighborhood 26 degrees. It feels like 11 degrees. And let's see, is it going to get worse as the night goes on? Oh, not so bad. It'll only feel as low as 11. Take that back. Overnight, it's going to get down to -10 with the wind chill. You guys are good in California. Kaylee, you don't need to worry about that. Who else is in California? Deborah. Yeah, you're fine. Nah, it's hot. Friday fun. A 73-year-old hiker in California, as a matter of fact, was found after a freak California snowstorm. Wow. Authorities in California found a 73-year-old man who disappeared this week when a freak snowstorm hit. What happened to you? Hit the area where he was hiking. Gab Song headed to the Mount Pinos Nordic Base Camp in Kern County on Tuesday and planned to be home before dark, his family told NBC Los Angeles, but he never returned. The Ventura County Sheriff's Office offered an update Thursday that said Song was found and in good condition after his worrisome disappearance. It's quite unfortunate that a snowstorm happened on that day, so random. His son Mike Song previously told NBC Los Angeles he didn't bring a lot of gear. Search and rescue teams that went to look for him found 8 inches of snow on the ground. The sheriff's office had teams searching in the Mount Pinos area with help from Kern County search and rescue teams. I'm sorry. Look, when I turned 73, any of you that know me, I'm not going hiking. Not doing it. There's no more hiking. That's over with. I'm chilling. I have made the path. You see me hiking at 73? No. You'll be doing that. 19 Austin, Texas police officers were indicted on charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for their actions during 2020 protests over racial injustice that spread nationwide following the killing of George Floyd, according to people familiar with the matter. Multiple people spoke to the Associated Press yesterday on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the case publicly. Austin Police Association President Ken Cassidy confirmed 19 officers are facing charges but did not have details. It ranks among the most indictments on a single police department in the U.S. over tactics used by officers during the widespread protests, methods that led to the resignation or ouster of several police chiefs across the country. Word of the indictments came hours after Austin city leaders approved paying $10 million to two people injured by members of the 1,640 person officer department in the protests, including a college student who suffered brain damage after an officer shot him with a beanbag round. Combined, the charges and settlements amounted to conservative Texas's liberal capital of 960,000 people taking some of its biggest actions as criticism still simmers over its handling of the protest, which intensified pressure on then police chief Brian Manley to eventually step down. That's a lot of money, $10 million. You got to pay that as a municipality, which means that the taxpayers have to pay that. It's a lot of money, lots of monies. We've been talking about the coronavirus for 24 episodes. It's not over yet. And California, the state of California, has become the first state to formally shift to an endemic approach to the coronavirus, with Governor Gavin Newsom's announcement Thursday of a plan that emphasizes prevention and quick reaction to outbreaks over mandated masking and business shutdowns. The milestone, nearly 2 years in the making, envisions a return to a more normal existence with the help of a variety of initiatives and billions in new spending to more quickly spot surges or variants, add healthcare workers, stockpile tests, and push back against false claims and other misinformation. Quote, "We are moving past the crisis phase into a phase where we will work to live with this virus," close quote, he said during a news conference from a state warehouse brimming with pandemic supplies in Fontana, east of Los Angeles. The first-term Democrat who last year survived a recall election driven by critics of his governance during the pandemic promised the state's nearly 40 million residents that as the Omicron surge fades, quote, "We're going to keep them safe and we're going to stay on top of this." I don't know. Should we be trying to have an endemic approach, even though 73% of the country has been vaccinated and a fair amount of folks have been boosted? Shouldn't we be trying to end the virus instead of contain it and live with it? We have it. I sounded like the beginning of the $6 Million Man. We have the technology. We can actually work on doing that now. Yes, Tete, what the F is hiking alone at 73 years old? Sorry, man. Matter of fact, I ain't going nowhere by myself. When I'm 73, I'm going to have a nice companion with me. People are going to be like, man, that old dude really gets around well. Yes, because I'm staying young. All means necessary. But back on this thing, the endemic. I don't know, man. I feel like we have advanced so much in the world that just settling and saying, yeah, we're going to just live with COVID. Remember how fast when people were like, I don't want to get the vaccine because it's moving too fast. No, man, that's called technology. It's 2020 blankety blank too. We should be able to do things like this. We should be able to find something that's trying to kill everybody and stop it. Not contain it, stop it. Angry on Friday. Trying to calm down. This isn't going to make you happy. A 12-year-old boy was among those accused in the beating of a 70-year-old man in Philly. A 12-year-old boy and two teenagers are accused of beating a 70-year-old man to death during a carjacking, police in Philadelphia said. Officers were called to a location on Teasdale Street shortly after 10:30 p.m. on December 2nd and found the victim, Chung Yan Chin, unresponsive and bleeding from his face and head. Authorities said Chin's Toyota Camry had been stolen. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition and died weeks later on December 21st, according to police. John Newsling, 18, was arrested January 14th, and the 12-year-old was taken into custody February 3rd. They were both charged with murder, robbery, carjacking, and other crimes, police said. Investigators are still searching for the third suspect, a 16-year-old boy. There is a warrant for his arrest, authorities said. NBC News is not naming the two boys because they are minors. The deadly carjacking comes amid a spike in crimes in Philadelphia. Last week, an Uber driver was shot trying to escape during a carjacking. NBC Philadelphia reports. A 60-year-old man was fatally shot during another carjacking this month, the station reported. I know here in Illinois and Chicago, carjackings are a big deal. A big deal. I don't want to try to invoke my personal opinion on every damn thing, but if you make that carjacking a felony crime, carjackings go down exponentially. It's exponentially, quickly. There's no reason for a child to have that kind of power to determine your life or death and take your car and maybe kill you or shoot you or beat you up. Beat up a 70-year-old man, a 12-year-old boy. The hell is a 12-year-old going to be doing driving a car? Where are you going? Who you got to go see? You're 12. You make it a felony crime and word gets out that it's a felony with all the things that go with a felony crime. Yeah. Make those sentences harsh. Yeah, that would stop it. Because I tell you what's going to end up happening, because America's gun happy, people who carry are going to be willing and waiting for somebody to carjack them. And this is never going to stop. Ever. And that's ridiculous. Alicia is joining the stream along with Nobody. I know that's the person's name, Nobody. You guys get all riled up when I do that. Just trying to tell you, it's Nobody. And Michael, you said, now that's a segue. I don't remember what I did, but thank you. I have prided myself on two things in my life. Hitting the post before a record comes on. Oh, I'm the Postmaster General. And a segue. Thank you very much. Oh, man. Okay, let's see here. I want to make sure that time is moving quite quickly. It happens on Fridays, right? Time is really fast. There's a lot of California news. California has a bill, pardon me, that aims to curb anti-Asian attacks against women and vulnerable groups. California lawmakers working with the nonprofit groups. Oh, they wanted to tell me about this. Okay, Stop AAPI Hate introduced two bills Thursday that aim to combat harassment and violence against women and other vulnerable populations in public spaces, including streets and transit platforms. Advocates say the proposed pieces of legislation shared first with NBC Asian America are some of the first in the country to frame street discrimination and harassment as a public health issue rather than a criminal one. The bills come at a time when attacks against Asians in the United States are increasing, and they specifically aim to curb the violence. From March 2020 to July 2021, Stop AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander Hate, collected reports of more than 9,000 hate incidents against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, nearly 40% of which occurred in California, home to the country's largest AAPI population. 2/3 of incidents were reported by women, and a majority of them took place in public spaces or businesses. State Senator Dave Min, a Democrat from Irvine, California, introduced the first bill, which seeks to protect women and other vulnerable groups of riders on transit systems. The proposed legislation, if you're wondering why I keep doing this, there is something around my mic and in my space here that makes my nose itch. I'm not joking. I do not do luxury drugs. It's something around here. I'm going to have to take this weekend to find out what it is. Driving me crazy. The proposed legislation, this is a serious story, and I just screwed it up. See what Friday does to people? From the first mile to the last, no Californian should feel unsafe traveling to work, to school, or anywhere, Min said in a statement. This bill will help restore confidence in the safety of public transportation so that everyone, especially women and minorities, can ride from one place to the next without fear. The second bill, introduced by Assembly members Mia Bonta, a Democrat from Oakland, and Dr. Akilah Weber, a Democrat from San Diego, and sponsored by California Healthy Nail Salon. That's weird. I didn't know they could do that. Would direct the California Department of Public Health to conduct a multi-year public education campaign accessible to residents with limited English proficiency to raise awareness about street harassment. Everyone has a right to move freely and have a sense of peace, while in public spaces, streets, and sidewalks, Weber said in a statement. The reality is street harassment against women and vulnerable communities is all too common and is rarely addressed by current laws. It's been going down for Asian Americans, all courtesy of what happened during the last administration with the whole China flu and all the other crazy stuff he was saying. And here we are. This is where we are now. We are here. You made it. You've arrived. It's crazy. If you're looking to follow me for more hijinks and all that cool stuff, it's right. I'm going to do it right this time. It's right there. Mario in Hyde Park, all lowercase. It's the same on Instagram, too. I'd love to block people. That's one of my things I love doing. So if you're going to come, be friendly. We can absolutely extend any conversation that we have here on the show, and I really appreciate that. Rob, am I allowed to talk about the podcast that I do? Is that okay?
Yeah. Is it at the same time as the show? Because if it is, then probably not.
No, that would be difficult. So there are two podcasts. One of them is called Randomly Selected. It is powered by a retail store here in Chicago called The Silver Room. Matter of fact, my man Eric Williams celebrated his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, brother. Happy solar return. So that's one of them. And the other is called Who You Got. And Who You Got is a music podcast that I do. And with the genius of Michael Lockett, the guy that I mentioned earlier, who was mentioning the segue. And you can get Who You Got on Podbean, and Randomly Selected is available wherever you get your podcast. And the other thing that I do, which is a terrestrial radio show, is called News from the Service Entrance with Mario Smith. And that's available at lumpenradio.com, LUMPEN radio.com. And that's on Thursdays when I'm not here. And one of these days, I'm going to broadcast from Lumpen Studios, because then I can hide behind this. Nobody has to know how handsome I am. I just want you guys to know you can follow me, man. I'm around. I do a lot of stuff. A lot of things here in Chicago, too. Karen, how you doing? You're in Florida. Welcome. It's your first time. I appreciate you being here. I hope this isn't the last time you fall through. We do stuff. Have some talky talk. Matter of fact, when we come back, we're going to give you the headlines at the top of the hour, and then we're going to have a segment we call Have No Fear, the Cameras here, where we delve into the world of entertainment. We got some things today, some things to talk about in the world of entertainment, and then after that, it'll be sports, and then we'll do one more thing, and then we'll be pew and win on the weekend. Glad that everybody that's here on Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and on your Amazon-supported devices are here. Someone with no name just joined the stream, and it's the wave hand emoji. Hello. Tay, get home safe, brother. Everybody have a great one. It's The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and your Amazon-supported devices. We will be right back. Thanks to all our passengers joining us here on The Drive. It is the top of the hour, wherever you are in the United States and around the world. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mario Smith. It's the show you don't see that makes this the show. It's the driver Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. You're also watching on YouTube. I can see that. And you're also listening to us on your Amazon supported devices, or you may be watching courtesy of your Fire Stick. Thank you for being here today. We have a lot to talk about. We've already covered a lot of things this afternoon. And helping me make all this happen is my friend Robert Milazzo. How you doing, Robert? Oh, I thought Robert left.
Sorry, man. No, I'm trying to be here for you and solve some mediocre issues at the same time. None of which are yours.
Oh, well, good.
Yours are like top line. Hey, can I be cliche for a moment? You may have solved this. Those glasses, man. I don't want to ask you where you got them because I don't like when people ask me because I feel like it's my little place. But how long have you had those glasses? They are rock star glasses.
Well, okay, so the story behind the glasses. I am always in front of a computer, even when I'm not like doing the show. I'm always reading. So although I do now need glasses because, as you can tell, if you hear me read, I cannot read anymore because I can't see. So these are blue light frame glasses.
Yes.
So that I can still see you. I see all three of your faces. No, I'm just kidding. They're the blue light frames so that I can go to sleep at night and my eyes aren't super tired. And that's all I think about. Let me tell you, my life, you know how like most of the earth is comprised of water. Most of my 24 hours are comprised of being in my room, just sitting there.
The struggle is real. Like this blue light fatigue thing.
It's real.
The struggle is real, isn't it?
It's real. I also have it because these are. I can tell you where I got them from. I think I can tell you.
Oh, you could tell me. I'm just saying I'm a brat about it, but you tell me.
Yeah, there's a place here. I believe they're nationwide called Zenni Optical, and they're the official optical sponsor of the Chicago Bulls. And I was like, "Ooh, I want some glasses," but I was like, "I don't want just plain frames. I want something to kind of pop when people see me, so they'd be like, oh, that's Mario." And so a couple of years ago, I was wearing a different brand that was far more comfortable. And they were red, and people were like, "Oh, wow, Spike Lee." I'm like, "No, Spike Lee makes way more money than me. I'm a regular dude with red glasses." So the red glasses are now like the thing. So, and I'm working on some orange ones.
Could I go in there and ask for the Horace Grant and get
I bet you could. Yes. Horace is around Chicago every now and then. He's an ambassador for the Bulls. He still pops up.
But he and Mike, like I know him, but he and Jordan are not in sync, right?
Not a lot of people are friends with Mike. Mike's birthday was yesterday too. I act like I know Michael Jordan's birthday. Yeah, that's crazy.
Can I just say one thing, then I'll let you go? But you know what's interesting? You get to be a certain age, you assume everyone's much older than you. Mm-hmm. Then when you get to hit an age, you're like, "Oh my God, I was only X years younger than Michael Jordan."
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? It's like,
yes,
you're all grouped with people you thought were much older than you. You know,
or now people that are like, depending on where I'm working, much younger than me, and I'm like, "You're my boss." What? So it's always cool. It's cool. Thanks for being a passenger on the drive today. We're in the second hour of the show, and I really appreciate you being here. We don't have live studio audience noises, but I would hope that you guys are applauding and all that stuff. Hutch is joining the stream for the first time. Hi, Hutch. How you doing? He's in Nebraska. What's up? What are we doing? I don't know. We're just here hanging out. Mark's in Georgia, also new to the show. Hey, Sherry. Oh, Sherry, how are you? She's joined the stream. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And you're a new passenger, Hutch. I hope you come back often, hang out with us, and you can see what we do and how we get down. We generally, Hutch, I'll tell you what we're doing. We read the stories, we talk about them, you talk back, and then we have a conversation, and then we do stuff. The gentleman who you just met, Robert, is sitting in for my man Jonathan Gliss. Gliss is out. He was on a boat for like 4 days, and our text messages are legendary because we both were having quite the time enjoying ourselves in our respective places. Gliss will be back on Monday. It'll be good to have him back. I missed him. And then you guys who are new will get to meet Gliss. News that's happening at the top of the hour. The sentencing of Kimberly Potter, the police officer who killed Dante Wright in Minnesota. She was sentenced to 24 months in prison for murder. Officer Potter was the trainer who trained police to be able to differentiate between a taser and a service weapon. She said she thought she had grabbed her taser when she pulled it out of her holster and shot and killed Dante Wright. Kim Potter sentenced to 24 months in jail. Major League Baseball says no to the first week of spring training. They have set a deadline for February 28th to be able to resolve the lockout that the owner started, which is crazy, in order for the season to be a full 162 games and to be able to get in some spring training. Their date is February 28th. Negotiations are set to resume on Monday. Negotiations today on not hard topics happened, but Monday and subsequently every day until they reach an agreement, there will be negotiations for Major League Baseball. And Donald Trump, the records that he took with him from the White House have been reobtained from the National Security Agency and the National Archives Agency, and those records have been deemed to be, some of them, top secret and classified, that Donald Trump had in his control. And those are the headlines at the top of the hour. Alicia, thank you. Hutch says he's going to hang out. Okay, works for me. I appreciate all of that. When we come back, we're going to have some entertainment news and a segment we like to call Have No Fear, the Camera's Here, and we will get to that right after this. You're watching The Drive on Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and on your Amazon-supported device. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Drive. I was enjoying this most delicious, what is it? Peach passion white tea. Fancy. Yes, I have on my Expos jersey. Fancy. Let's get with it. Are you guys familiar with Chet Hanks? It's Tom Hanks' son. I'm not as familiar with him as I think I should be, but I'm troubled by my man, Chet. I'm a little troubled. Chet Hanks is reflecting on growing up the child of famous parents, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, in a video entitled The Truth About Growing Up as a Hanks, posted on the Younger Hanks' YouTube channel. He talked about his upbringing surrounded by wealth and fame. Quote, "My experience was even more complicated because on top of fame already being toxic, I wasn't even famous," Hanks said. He was perceived, he said, as arrogant, entitled, and spoiled by his peers, and didn't have a strong male role model to impress upon him that they are just jealous of you. Hanks, 31, and his brother Truman, 26, are the son of the Oscar-winning actor, and Wilson, his wife. The elder Hanks also has a son, Colin Hanks, 44, and a daughter, Elizabeth Hanks, 39, from his previous marriage to Samantha Lewis. Chet Hanks said he was prejudged by people. Quote, "It was extremely hard to break down their walls," close quote, he shared. Quote, "So I encountered a lot of disdain, a lot of animosity and negativity because everybody was just prepared to hate my guts." Last year, Hanks ranted against vaccines and masks, despite his parents being among the first high-profile celebrities to go public with their COVID-19 diagnosis. I'm not saying that my man does not have problems. Who am I to say that? That's not right, and I wouldn't do that. But what I am saying, though, if you feel like you had an issue with your dad, don't you kind of like check, hey, man, I need to talk to you. You're an adult. You're 31 years old. Or maybe you can't go and talk to your dad. I don't know. That just seems to me that that would be something you would be like, hey, I really need to have a conversation with you. I don't feel like you were there for me. I don't feel like, I don't, you something. You don't just go, whatever, screw it, dude. I'm crazy. You're crazy. I don't like you. You don't like me. Don't wear a mask. Don't get a vaccine. I'm Chet Hanks. I got on tattoos all over my body. And it explains Colin Hanks because I knew that him and his stepbrother, or not stepbrother, but yeah, I guess it would be his half brother. They don't look alike, like at all. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody calm down. I am looking forward to watching this show. It's called Severance. Have you seen the trailer for Severance yet? Ooh. Severance is going to be on Apple Plus. Best kind of science fiction sometimes feels set about 10 minutes in the future, and so it is with Severance, an extremely creepy, slow-moving but instantly engrossing Apple TV Plus series. Produced by Ben Stiller, the project features a stellar cast and a show about memory that proves appropriately hard to forget. You see what they did? The title refers to a procedure practiced by corporate giant Lumen Industries, in which employees sever their memories of what transpires at work from what happens outside and vice versa, theoretically bringing new meaning to the phrase work-life balance. Yet, when a member of the team suddenly leaves and a newcomer arrives, it upsets the chemistry within the office, triggering thoughts about what really might be motivating the practice and what the company might actually be doing that its robotic, happy-talking top brass appears eager to avoid. Answers don't come quickly, but the scenario becomes utterly fascinating with Adam Scott, the man with the most punchable face in America, as Mark Scout. I like Adam Scott. I'm just saying he does have a punchable mug. The low-key new leader of the team, and Britt Lower as Helly, the new arrival, who asks way too many questions. All told, it's enough to make even those pining for the office appreciate Zoom calls. As for the aforementioned cast, Lumen's personnel roster includes John Turturro, Christopher Walken, Zach Cherry, Trammell Tillman, and Patricia Arquette, the last reuniting with Stiller after the splendid 2018 prison drama Escape at Dannemora. For Mark, the severed memories have served a particular purpose, allowing him to create distance between work and the pain he was experiencing after the loss of his wife. Scott turns out to be the perfect everyman, but the cast is uniformly good. Why the others would agree to this Faustian bargain is only one of the breadcrumbs that Severance takes its time sprinkling in a series that leaves plenty of runway for more at the end of its 9 episodes. It's a Dan Erickson creation. It's Twin Peaks-esque. It's going to be good, and I am really looking forward to it. It premieres tomorrow. No, today, February 18th. It premieres today on Apple TV Plus. Oh, something to do while the Bulls aren't playing. Look at me. Finding things to do. How about that? Someone said something on the thing here? Okay, there you go. Better, stronger, faster. Thank you, Mike. For sure. I am sad to report. Oh, this was one right here. Anybody here watch Atlanta? The Donald Glover show with Lakeith Stanfield? Atlanta's going away. It's coming to an end. The network FX announced the news yesterday during a presentation at the Television Critics Association press tour. During a panel for the show, star and executive producer Donald Glover said he was at peace with the decision to end the show, adding, quote, "To be honest, I wanted it to end after season 2, and I think we had talked about that for a minute," close quote. He said, "I think it ends perfectly well. Season 3 of Atlanta, which takes place entirely in Europe, is set to premiere March 24th on FX. The 4th and final season has already been shot, but no official premiere date has been announced." That's sad news. You know? Anybody here watch Atlanta? Any of our passengers? Atlanta's a good show, man. I liked Atlanta. I like Donald Glover anyway. I think he's wildly entertaining. There's a movie coming out very soon. It's The Batman with Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson says he was terrified of releasing the Batman. The actor who plays the crime fighter in the newest Batman film was on Jimmy Kimmel to promote the movie, where he revealed that he was stressed out by public attention to the role. He says, "I was absolutely terrified." He also went on to say, "I haven't been this scared to release a movie in a long time." Stepping into the role of Bruce Wayne, Pattinson follows Michael Keaton, George Clooney, Val Kilmer, Christian Bale, and Ben Affleck. So you know the question's coming. Passengers on the chat, on Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and on your Amazon-supported devices. Who was the best Batman? Who was the best Batman? This is you can even say Adam West if you like. Or who does the the Lego voice of Batman? You can even say him. Who was the best Batman? Answer that on the chat at Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and on your Amazon-supported device. Pattinson says, "If you're a bad Batman, there's no bigger disaster than that, is there?" That's what everyone keeps telling me, Pattinson said. They're like, if all fails, you'll still be part of something really special. I'm like, I don't want to be the worst one. That's what I get remembered for. Pattinson says he just watched the film a couple of days ago. "I kind of realized I need to be in the perfect balance of serotonin to watch my own stuff," Pattinson said. "I need to work out beforehand. I need to have an enormous amount of sugar and caffeine. Then whatever I'm watching, I'm like, yes." That's I know that feeling. I do know that feeling. Arabella is here. It's her first time, and she's in Missouri. What's up? Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. So nobody, who was your best Batman? My favorite Batman, in the movies anyway, would be Michael Keaton. Christian Bale, though, pretty good as Batman. I mean, he held it down. You know, he was very, what's the word I'm looking for? It was accurate. But the thing about Christian Bale is I saw American Psycho, and it is off-putting. Everything he does just kind of scares me. I'm glad that I've got a little bit of time left because I want to talk to you about Genius. It's the Kanye West trilogy that is on Netflix. Full disclosure, my man Cootie directed it, and this is the Kanye West I wish everybody, I hope you watch it. For all of whatever is going on with him now, this is when you get to see him, particularly episode 1, when it was beginning. And I was around, I'm not in any of this stuff, but I was around in Chicago when that was all happening, when it was starting to really click for him, when people were talking about him on the street in the music world, like, yo, this kid Kanye is dope. Whose beat is that? That's this dude named Kanye. His mom, Professor Donda West, was a poet. So I had the fortune of being able to see her perform. She was a professor at Chicago State University and other places. Always nice, super nice lady. She brought something to the table in my poetry world that I don't, a lot of people just weren't doing. The cat that directed it, Cootie, was a stand-up comic in Chicago at first before he became a film director. He's directed a bunch of really cool stuff. And it all started on a public access show called Channel Zero. And what Channel Zero used to do, and I guess they intimated in this piece, they used to follow they would show up we would be at a party. I'm telling you this not because I heard about it, because I was there. We'd be at a party. And then you just see a bright camera light come on. And it would be Cootie. It would be my man L. Arthur Bay. And it would be Danny. And they would just be right in your face. And Channel Zero got real popular in Chicago. And it was, you'd see Kanye West. You'd see Common. You'd see Malik Yusef. You'd see Jay Ivy. You'd see Rhymefest. You'd see Tari Teray, now Jay Ivy's wife. You'd see all these stars in Chicago because they would be at the parties. We'd all be there just kicking it because Chicago wasn't really like that. No one like that then. But Kanye West, this Kanye West, I wish that everybody would check this out. It's genius. It's on Netflix. It's a trilogy, 3 parts. Cootie Simmons. I'm going to try everything I can to get Cootie on this show in the next few weeks. And I hope you can join us for that. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. Jaden and Henry. Oops, I'm sorry. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here. We're going to have some sportsy sports. We're going to play ball in a second as we turn the corner on our day so we can get to Friday. There's a lot to do this weekend. Like nothing. Chill out. Relax. I just took a pizza out the oven. That's what I'm waiting on. It's The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. And we'll be right back after these words. Welcome back to The Drive with Mario Smith. I'm Mario Smith. It's time for us to play ball. Before we do, though, I do need to read to you some breaking news. President Biden has spoken. He says that he believes Putin has already, quote, made the decision, close quote, to attack Ukraine. President Biden goes on to say it's not too late to de-escalate and return to the negotiating table. His remarks come after a situation he termed a rapidly escalating crisis. And with all due respect, President Biden has been saying that this man was going to attack the Ukraine for the last 2 weeks. I don't want him to do it. I just want Biden to stop saying he's going to do it when he hasn't done it yet. That's all. That's just me. I'm weird in that way. And is there anything else breaking? No. Actually, one more note, and this is a sports note. The Players Union says Major League Baseball's statement that it must postpone the start of spring training is false. Hold on, I'm waiting on it to load up. Spring training games won't begin until at least March 5th. And this is from ESPN. Major League Baseball announced in a statement earlier today, quote, "We regret that without a collective bargaining agreement in place, we must postpone the start of spring training games," the statement said. All 30 clubs are unified in their strong desire to bring players back to the field and fans back to the stands. We are committed to reaching an agreement that is fair to each side. On Monday, members of the Owners Bargaining Committee will join in an in-person meeting with the Players Association and remain every day next week to negotiate and work hard towards starting the season on time. Owners locked out the players in December after the last collective bargaining agreement expired, as negotiations for a new agreement haven't proven fruitful so far. Talks on Thursday broke off just after 15 minutes. Talks between the league and the Players Union should intensify next week as the deadline to start the regular season on time looms. Negotiations are scheduled for Monday, just the 7th time that the two sides have gotten together since the lockout began December 2nd. Spring training camps were set to open this week, with games starting on February 26th, but all of that is on hold. Quote, MLB announced today that it must postpone the start of spring training games. This is false. The MLBPA, the Major League Baseball Players Association, said in a statement today. Nothing requires the league to delay the start of spring training, much like nothing required the league's decision to implement the lockout in the first place. Despite these decisions by the league, players remain committed to the negotiating process. Whew, that's good. The league has previously stated they would prefer about 4 weeks of spring training, so camps would need to open by early March in order to start the regular season on time. The sides are far apart on a number of issues, including revenue sharing between the clubs, service time for players to enter the arbitration system, the amount of money in a pre-arbitration bonus pool, and the thresholds and penalties for the competitive balance tax. The last time spring and regular season games were missed outside of the COVID-19 pandemic came during the players' strike, which began in 1994 and carried over to 1995. The 1995 season opened on April 25th and went for 144 games. Fans who have purchased tickets to spring training games that will not be played have an option for a full refund, MLB said in its statement. And that year that happened, as I get my prop here, it would have been the White Sox against the Expos. That year got taken away from everybody, and I have not forgotten it, as you can tell. I am a big fan of baseball. I love the sport. I look forward to it getting back. I will say this. Hey, Nathan, how you doing? I would say this, and this is important. I heard someone say it today on the radio here in Chicago. If you're a baseball fan and you're looking for answers to the stalemate, to what's going on, you don't want to follow sports writers, because this is a labor negotiation now. This isn't about sports. It's about labor. And labor negotiations, sometimes they only last 15 minutes. I was taken aback by that too yesterday. Like 15 minutes? That's not long enough. That could have been an email. What are you doing? But this is a labor negotiation. So I think they're going to get it resolved. I think they get it resolved before the 28th, to be honest with you. But those hardcore issues are going to have to resolve them. The thing where baseball messes up is their leadership is, for lack of a better term, crappy. You can take the derivative of crap and place it where you need to. It's not good leadership. And because their leadership, well, I'm not going to say it's not good leadership. It's the owners that now own baseball teams. I heard this today as well, and it's true. They don't really care about baseball. I do. You might. Fans do. Those owners don't care about that. Look, they don't make money not being in the park. That's not how it works. They make money. Their nut that they make, the biggest amount of money they make, is during the playoffs. So if they only played 60 games and still had a playoff in a World Series, they'd be fine with that. It's not going to happen, but they'd be fine with it, because there's no incentive for them to run all these games down your throat, 162 games, because after the 162, there's no guarantee that the best team is going to win anyway. I mean, the White Sox last year, in my opinion, had one of the best teams in baseball, couldn't beat the Astros to save their life. I still am angry about going to that last game. I'm not going to do it to you. I'm sorry. Anthony Davis. If you're a Lakers fan, shout out to Anthony Davis. He can't stay healthy. How long do the Lakers do what they're doing with Anthony Davis? He could be out. He's going to be out for 4 weeks and reevaluated after 4 weeks, rather. Throughout his career, he's only played more than 70 games in 10 years, twice. And they're not like catastrophic injuries. These are minor injuries, but they're nagging injuries. He came down for a rebound, and it looked like he broke his ankle. You know what they call AD? Always disabled. That's so mean. I wish I'd have thought of that, because it's funny. So now he's hurt again. Got hurt in the game against Utah. I am really at a serious loss. So now you got Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan who are going to get more minutes. It's sad. He can't stay on the floor. The question that the Lakers are going to have to ask and answer: how long are you going to put up with that? He can't stay on the floor. You know where he'd be great, since he can't stay on the floor and coming off the bench? Chicago, Illinois, for the Bulls. If you can get him 10 minutes, 20 minutes a game until you figure out why he's so brittle, yeah, you got something. And the Lakers are going to have to figure it out soon because LeBron James cannot play until he's 60 years old. I mean, he probably could, but he probably shouldn't. And you're going to have to figure out a way to get that Laker love back. That's big. If Anthony Davis can't stay on the floor for you, what is the point? There's no reason for him to be there. And I don't know if it's just me. And Robert, you might be able to speak to this. I think you told me you were a Laker fan. What happened to the Lakers? Remember when they used to be like the Lakers?
Yeah.
It's different now. It's like LeBron's the GM. And they're all, it just doesn't have that same Hollywood thing to it anymore. Has time changed that much? Is it because Kobe is gone from the team? I mean,
I think there's a couple of timestamps. I want to say a couple of Anthony Davis postscripts because I don't want to waste too many of my Laker words on him. I love AD always disabled again. No disrespect.
Oh no, but that's so funny.
My favorite, I think, is Charles Barkley calls them street clothes.
He calls them street clothes. He sure does. I forgot about street clothes.
I mean, for the win, street clothes, and I think it all went not hugely south because Kupchak made a couple of good moves, like Paul Gasol. They missed out on Chris Paul with Kobe, but I actually think when Jerry West started being treated really badly,
there you go,
is when the Lakers stopped becoming the Lakers. Now, not to get into this inside baseball thing, but that Phil Jackson appointment had to happen. All that drama had to happen, the Kobe drama, but the team was really interestingly crafted, like Rick Fox and Robert Ory or Bobby, Big Shot Bob, whatever they called him, Fitch, like those guys, those cats. That was a really interesting construction. And they had Glenn Rice one year. Like that was an interesting ride. I actually went to game 5 against the Nets, Lakers Nets championship that year, and because I wanted to go. I was worried about getting game 6 because I was like, I want to spend my money. I don't want to go when they lose, and I was like, by game 6, do not care. So I want to go with the game when they win. But anyway, sorry to answer your question. I think the decentralization of Jerry West as a key cog, and if you read this past week, he's been for the first time vocal about how badly they've treated him. Which really breaks my heart. He's the best personnel guy in the NBA. Him and Rod Thorne. Yep. Now, all apologies to whatever Sam Bowie and all that stuff, but I think Rod Thorne and Jerry West, who were both West Virginia guys, they both played on the same team. There's something in that Gatorade in West Virginia. I don't want to go on and on, but when you say Lakers, I got to go on a little bit.
I know. That's why I did it. I remember. I'm like, I know.
I appreciate that, man. You got a lot of the gears are always spinning with you. I noticed that. But long story short, so I think that was another key part of it. I also think Dr. Buss. I'm not trying to call him Dr. Buss. I just like calling him a doctor. I liked having a doctor own the franchise. But he was a love doctor. But I think, when his son took over before Jeannie Buss, I like Jeannie Buss. But I'll say one last thing, man, and then I'll shut up. The problem now is Kurt Rambis. That's a big problem. Rambis has a huge say there. And the problem with Rambis is Rambis was anointed by Phil Jackson because Jackson loved Rambis. Yep. He wanted Rambis to take over the Knicks. Like there was a whole Rambis-Jackson love triangle. And I know Jeannie Buss is tight with Rambis's wife, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think there's a weird synergy there. I think Jeannie Buss is great, I got to say. And I actually say one last thing. For the first time ever, the last 24 hours, she kind of said to LeBron, look, it's your team. You wanted these people in place. Go do your thing. Now, no one's throwing LeBron. I mean, LeBron's been a hero this year. He's been a great god for that team.
Yes, he has.
But he's kind of like, but Jeannie for the first time called him out, and I like that. I like how Ty Lue used to do it a little bit, and I like how Jeannie does it. I'll say one last thing because I want to get your perspective on this. Rob Pelinka, forget Magic Johnson. He's just a passenger, to use your language.
Yeah.
But what do you think about Rob Pelinka? I mean, no one knows if he's got the chops because every Laker loved that Dennis Schroeder signing. Every Laker liked what they did off season.
Yep.
But this last off season, man, it's just like it just was awful. It was a massacre of that team, I think. Sorry,
No. I think where the Lakers, in my estimation, where the Lakers messed up. First of all, Rob Pelinka's not the guy for the job. I think Kobe liked him a lot, and that's how he got that gig.
Yeah.
With all due respect to Kobe Bryant and his basketball IQ, again, like Michael Jordan, sometimes you got to let people who know how to do that thing, let them do it. Make your suggestion and move out the way. To go back just a little bit, Shaq he doesn't even want to have anything to do with the Lakers. That's your man. Outside of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Kobe and Magic, Shaquille O'Neal is on that Mount Rushmore of Laker greats, and he's like, no, I don't want anything to do with him.
He's very
messed up.
Yeah,
and normally Shaq's all in. He's like, nope. He'll tell you he was a Cleveland, whatever they call themselves.
Exactly. He'll even talk about Miami even better. He played for the Celtics. He didn't talk about them, but because that was kind of a sad thing. But Shaq would be a great ambassador, but they've leaned on Kobe. And again, not to disrespect Kobe, I just feel like they gave him that big contract near the end of his time too. Like, I get the Victory Tour contract thing. I kind of get that. I think they've misplaced where they've put their energy. I agree with you, but I'll just say one thing. I went to I used to go to the Forum way back when. Like, I used to go to Lakers game at the Forum.
Nice.
And then I'm going to end on a Chicago note and give it back to you. But I went to my first ever, before it was crypto, I went to my first ever Staples game this past year, and I said to myself, "You're going to like this. I'm going to go early because by about 20 games in, AD's not going to be in the lineup." And LeBron's going to be hit or miss. So I went to Phoenix Lakers. Lakers got their butts kicked, but at least I saw the Three Musketeers. And don't get me started on Westbrook, but last thing, and I'll let you go. AD Chicago DNA. So here's my thing about, it's not just about you, but whenever I talk to you, I just got to keep reemphasizing how many cool media, sports, cultural foundation pieces come out of Chicago. AD, for better for worse, Chicago kid. But Mike Krzyzewski, Chicago guy.
Absolutely.
And for the first time this week, there's this book coming on Krzyzewski that I really want to read. He kind of, not threw Kobe under the bus, but there's that moment when he was coaching Kobe and LeBron in the Olympics. And LeBron came off the court, said, "Coach, you got to get that S under control." And he was talking about Kobe.
Yep.
So you got to get that. And K did it. Like, he pulled him aside and said, "This is not the way we're going to play it." He actually showed Kobe a cut down video of his crazy shot selection. And Kobe said, "I got this, coach." It's interesting there because I think Kobe did love Coach K. Like, because those rumors, like Coach K every year was going to coach the Lakers because of Kobe and all that.
And Kobe was going to Duke if he didn't go pro.
Right.
He was definitely going to be a Dookie, for lack of a better word.
Well, I was a Dookie, and I mean that like modestly, because and a little embarrassingly, but I also say that Kobe was a prototypical Dookie. Like, I mean,
yeah. Did you go to school with Dan Bernstein?
No, I was around the time of Grant Hill, Leitner, Hurley.
Bernstein, he works here. He's one of the greatest sports radio dudes ever. He works for the Score here in Chicago. He used to work for whatever. He used to do basketball games, whatever TV thing or radio thing they had.
Amazing. I don't know, Dan. I actually went to school with Seth Davis. Seth does all the tournament stuff.
Yeah.
He's had a long run at CBS. He was the head of the sports department when I was there, like as a student. Yeah. It's weird. And I'll just say one thing. I don't want to get on a Coach K rant because I'm actually not a big Coach K fan. Yeah,
me neither. But I get it though.
What bothered me about Coach K is a couple of things. He's holier than thou, but he's barking at the refs like they're in a schoolyard. And I'm not. Look. It's like, okay, coach, you're going to tell us how to live life, but you're calling these referees like less than S. That always bothered me. The other thing that bothered me, and I get this because I talked to Doris Burke a little bit about this, he used to get mad at student journalists when they criticized the team. Well, then what are you training the journalists to be if not critical? You know what I mean?
There you go.
The sidebar, and then I'll shut up, I promise, is because I know you've talked to Doris. Doris and I talked about this because there's an unwritten rule in college sports announcing that you don't criticize college players.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you watch Kirk Herbstreit or, I was about to say Billy Packer, but when you watch these announcers, they don't say that was a terrible throw by Johnny Manziel. That was a missed tackle, because they feel there's an unwritten code that because they're amateurs, which they're not anymore. So it's interesting if this is going to change.
Right.
That you don't criticize them because they're amateurs. But
yeah.
I know I jammed a lot in there. Sorry.
No. That's good. It's good. I think college athletics is always weird to talk about because they should be paying those dudes, but now that they kind of are paying them, it's like, oh, well, now we can have a different conversation about college athletics. I tell this story all the time. When I was on my way to Miami, we flew over Louisville. Don't ask me why. And I got to see that campus, and it's enormous. I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. Louisville has a lot of money. Not the best program anymore, but when they spent all that money they made, and it's millions of dollars, on a gigantic football stadium, a brand new basketball stadium, a place to play baseball, a place to play soccer. It's crazy, and it's the only game in town. So there's something to be said about all that. Just to go back to that Laker thing, that feeling. When I've always been a Bulls fan, but the Lakers just mean something to basketball for me, right? Because my favorite basketball player ever is Magic Johnson. It's not Mike, it's Magic. Michael Jordan's a different conversation. Magic Johnson was my favorite player. So I really liked that swag that the Lakers had then. They don't have that anymore. It's just like, here's a ball, go. There's no pride in it, and if I can feel it, I'm sure a person that's a Laker fan like yourself is like, yeah, that's accurate. It's gone.
Well, when you team build in a certain way, I think Jerry West was a great talent evaluator, but was also a team builder.
That's it.
Pelinka, I'm going to give him not the benefit of the doubt. I agree with you. I'm going to keep it open-ended. I want to see what he does in his next year. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ready to toss him out. I'll ask you one question. I'll let you go, man, because there's another thing coming for us old school NBA guys. Yeah. The Showtime series. So it's not called Showtime. What are you thinking, man? Come on. Got to do a big,
I want to see it.
You and Gliss got to do a download when this show premieres. I want to tune in.
Funny thing, we were talking about that a few weeks ago about, when this show comes out, man, we're gonna have to talk about it. I am very excited. One, John Riley is the man.
So looks amazing.
I'm a big fan of his anyway. The guy that got playing Magic, that's just the way they position him.
Incredible.
It's just like in the pictures and stuff. So I'm excited about that. And Magic Johnson's story is a hell of a story. That dude almost died. He was almost out of here because of AIDS and his promiscuity, but that show is going to be about how that Laker team had that swag. This is going to be their version of The Last Dance. I am here for it. I can't wait to see it.
I like how they cast the kid playing Kareem is very soft spoken.
Like Kareem.
Like Kareem, and I'll just say one thing. There's also on a movie side, it looks like it broke up the friendship between Will Ferrell and Adam McKay.
Yeah.
Because Will Ferrell was never offered the role of Jerry Buss, but he wanted the role because Ferrell's a huge Lakers and LA Kings fan. He always goes to the Kings games, but a huge Laker fan. So I'm telling you, give that when you're ready to throw down on one of those episodes. I can't wait.
I'm excited. I cannot wait to do it. I'll let you know when it gets ready to happen so that I can get your eyes and ears for it. We are going to take a break. And when we come back, by the way, the Olympics are over. Yay. We're going to take Sidney Crosby got his 500 gold. Congratulations. Canada, the women beat the U.S. women in hockey, whatever. Not that I'm poo-pooing hockey because I love hockey, but the Olympics, this one, they could have kept it. When we come back, we're going to have a story for you. Two of them. One of them about a flying raccoon, and the other to ask about how old your dog really is. We'll be right back as we wind it up on The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and on your Amazon supported devices. We'll be right back. Sorry, I'm typing. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Welcome back. And that's Hoop, Robert, not Hop. There we go. Welcome back to The Drive with Mario. Oh, wait. Welcome back to The Drive. So I mentioned a flying raccoon. Yep, I did. We'll talk about the flying raccoon in a moment. How old is your dog? Open Science Project is studying how dogs age, and I'm going to tell you how you can join it. We've all heard the saying that one dog is roughly equivalent to 7 human years. 1 dog year, that is. But new research is working to find out more about how dogs progress through life and, in turn, teach us about how we ourselves age. You know, this dog is so handsome. It is true that dogs age faster than humans. However, according to researchers behind the Dog Aging Project, or DAP, founded in 2018, the details are a bit murky. Saying that 1 human year is equivalent to 7 dog years is a very broad simplification. Big dogs tend to age the fastest, around 10 times as fast as humans, while little breeds age slower, about 5 times as fast as humans. In other words, there's so much we don't know about how man's best friend grows old, which is why the DAP was set up. This is Joshua Akey, a professor in Princeton and Princeton's Louis Sigler Institute for Intergenerative Genomics and a member of the Dog Aging Project's research team. Quote, "This is a very large, ambitious, wildly interdisciplinary project that has the potential to be a powerful resource for the broader scientific community. Personally, I find this project exciting because I think it will improve dog and ultimately human health. The project is the largest undertaking to date that looks into canine aging and longevity. It currently involves tens of thousands of dogs of all breeds, sizes, and backgrounds, data from which goes into an open source repository for veterinarians and scientists to use in the future. This wealth of data can be used to assess how well a particular dog is faring for their age. The researchers behind the DAP explain and help further our understanding of healthy aging in both dogs and humans. It is set to run at least 10 years in order to gather the data required. So far, 32,000 dogs and their owners have joined the program, and recruitment is still ongoing. The owners of these dogs agreed to fill out annual surveys and take various measurements of their dogs to be used in the program. Some of them have also been asked to collect DNA material via cheek swabs for the researchers to sample. In addition, veterinarians associated with the program across the USA submit fur, blood, and other required samples from the dogs enrolled in the program, collectively known as the DAP Pack. The end goal of the program is to isolate specific biomarkers of aging in dogs. These should translate well to humans, the team explains. Dogs experience almost the same diseases and functional declines related to age as humans. Veterinary care of dogs mirrors human health care in many ways, and dogs very often share living environments with humans. That last factor is very important as the environment is a main driver of aging and cannot be replicated in the lab. Given that dogs share our environment, age similarly to us, but are much shorter lived than humans, we have an exciting opportunity to identify factors that promote a healthy lifespan and to find the signs of premature aging. The oldest 300 dogs in the program will have their DNA sequenced as part of the Super Centenarian study. The team hopes to start this process in a few months. By that time, they will also open their entire anonymized data set for researchers around the world to study. If you live in the USA and you would like to help, you and your dog can enroll at, as I wait for it, I will tell it to you. That is not it. God, it's Friday, man. Crud. It's the dogagingproject.org. Dogagingproject.org. Again, dogagingproject.org. If you'd like to get in on that survey, I think that's pretty cool. I do not own a dog myself, but I could see me owning a dog one day. I just get weirded out. I don't want dogs to die on me, man. That would be a mess. I don't want that to happen. And now I told you about a flying raccoon. Well, here we go. A raccoon at LSU fell through the ceiling into a packed dining hall as students screamed, and a cook tried to catch it in a basket. Well, of course he did. Freshman Danielle Gibson told the Reveal student newspaper that everyone was standing up and looking around for a raccoon when she went into the 459 dining hall the 459 dining hall for dinner Wednesday. Quote, I went and still got my food because I thought it was fake, close quote, she said. Quote, the raccoon then ran underneath my table and I immediately got on top of the chair, close quote. One video posted with the article showed the raccoon running between tables, then climbing onto a chair and looking around. Another shows people chasing it with a broom and a stick, or perhaps two brooms. Screams are all that can be heard on either. Gibson says she lost her appetite when friends told her the raccoon had been on top of her bag while she was gone. Quote, I am just scared that my bag has a disease, she said. Right now, it's funny to look back at, but at the moment, I was traumatized. My appetite is definitely gone. One of her friends, freshman Hannah Asius, said students got the raccoon into an area where it couldn't run out. Quote, the raccoon was making its way toward me. It stopped and climbed on top of my friend Danielle's bag. Animal control finally came and tried to catch it in a trash can. A cook even tried to use a basket to catch it. It was a mess, she said. Eventually, it was caught. Yo, I gotta tell you, if I'm eating and a raccoon falls out the ceiling, I'm done eating. Peace. Gotta go. Anybody interested in going into outer space, you can buy a ticket now for $450,000. If you've been dreaming about taking a flight into space, Virgin Galactic has a seat just ready for you. On Wednesday, the company opened up ticket sales to the public for seats on flights into space set for later this year. But if you want to go where few average Joes have gone before, you better have deep pockets. A 90-minute round trip into space will set you back $450,000. The CEO says they plan to have the first 1,000 customers on board at the start of commercial service later this year. What comes with your nearly $500,000 flight? In addition to an Under Armour designed spacesuit, customers will go through several days of space flight preparedness activities for 90 minutes. In space. 90 minutes. Nope. On this date, in 1970, the Chicago 7 defendants are found innocent of conspiring to incite riots at the 1968 Democratic Convention. Harry Carey, on this date in 1998, world-famous sportscaster, died in California at the age of 83. And today, John Hughes would have been 72 years old, director of the Breakfast Club. Dr. Dre is 57 today, and Molly Ringwald is age 54. Music fans, Red Hot Chili Peppers' Under the Bridge has released the single on this date in 92. And I think that's going to do it. Hey, Robert, thank you, man, for being with me a couple of days this week. I truly appreciate that. And
thank you, man. Now I know why you call your peeps passengers. I'm just along for the ride. So thank you.
I appreciate it. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity. And I'm glad that I got a chance to do a show with you. This is Mike. Can take it off my list. Riyadh is next. Get Riyadh in here. For all our passengers, and let me run through your names really quickly because I'm not going to see you guys again for a couple of days. Destiny and Jake and it's Jake's first time. Hey, man, he's in Texas. Hi there. Emmanuel, Mike, Hilma, Nathan, Jaden, Hendry, Arabella, Gliss, wherever you're at, brother. Love you, man. Look forward to seeing you back next week. Amanda, Deborah, Verona, Sunny, Bella. I just figured out who Deborah is. Okay. So Verona, Sunny, Bella, Nathan, and sometimes see J-Lo, Cole, Chandler, Hilma, Mike, Jake, Kobe, who I hadn't seen in a few days. Thank you guys so much for being on the drive with us this week. On behalf of everybody, all the people at Backchannel.tv as the sun sets in Chicago, Illinois, my name is Mario Smith. We thank you for joining us on Backchannel.tv this week. You can rejoin us on Monday, beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern Time with Haley and Allison. For all of us at Backchannel.tv, have a great weekend. Be safe.